Hey, B12. Always gotta end it with me flipping off B12. Hello, Alhuno. Hello, Hats. Hello, Sark. Hello, Creepy. Holy cow. Hello, you. How's everyone doing today? Happy Friday. Sorry it's so much later than I intended, but like literally nothing wanted to work. I had to restart my computer like 3 times. If it wasn't my audio, or, well, it wasn't my headset connecting to OBS, it was my monitor not wanting to work. It's just bad. What's up, big guy? You want to watch something else? How do you ask? Okay. You never want to work, that's fair. Um, yeah, we are continuing Stanley Parable, which I didn't change this. I didn't change anything. My bad. Bad streamer. I mean, it still worked, but you know, whatever. Um, yeah, I was fighting with technology today. 11:26, your favorite time of day. Or could you simply not resist giving me the correct time again? We are all Jim. After all, I know how much you enjoy setting the time correctly. Okay, now I'm curious how accurate 11:26 is. Let's use another slider to find out. How accurate is 11:26? You know, can I just say, regardless of the accuracy of the clock, I'm having a great time adjusting these settings. I feel like I'm learning more about you and how you like things to be set. It's good to collect data. I wish we had more sliders, but we've gone through all the sliders I have. Perhaps I can invent some new sliders to gather new data on you. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, let me whip a couple new ones up. So before this, I did have the game up and was, you know, struggling to get my headset to connect to OBS. Um, so I had already set the time correctly, and it did a little thing about, you know, I'm proud of you for setting the time twice. Most people just leave it at 12 and that's it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what you missed. Should be ready by the next time you boot up the game. Okay, well now I'm curious. But yeah, I had to do all that to get to the quit to desktop option, which was frustrating. Also, y'all, I want to thank you guys so
This is the
much
story of a man named Stanley.
after this.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order.
I forgot to plug in
This
my
is
light.
what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Nah, I got an achievement for welcome back. Quit the game has started again. But yeah, y'all, I want to thank you guys. This is the first time in my streaming career where I've gotten 3 months of Twitch payout back to back. Normally it's like every other month, maybe every third month. Um, I usually end up just below the threshold, so I always have to wait. But this is the first time for 3 months in a row that I've gotten it, and I really want to thank you guys. I'll try really hard not to be money oriented with streaming because it is just for fun for
All
me.
of his co-workers were
But
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find
sir,
a
can you
trace
shut
of
up?
his co-workers.
But with the unexpected cost of my daughter's medical bills from her
Stanley went around touching
hospitalization,
every little thing in the office,
it
but it
it
didn't make a
definitely helps
single
out a lot.
difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Well, that too. Bucket! Give me
Stanley
bucket.
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And
There's a
here
place
it
that said
was.
like no
Had the
buckets
bucket turned out to be
beyond this
correct?
point, and
Was
I'm
this
just kind of
better
like,
than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley
where?
thought. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Jim stole Stanley's bucket. You know, there is another ending that I haven't done yet.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply it
I
touched
fucking
him.
love this game.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I almost forgot bucket.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I can turn it up a little bit, but it sounded alright to me. I did almost forget my stolen
No,
property.
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes.
Oh.
Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Did I find a hidden area? What? What? I want to read that because it looks pretty. Please hold. Let me put on another music because I need noise. Thank you for the noise, Pokemon. There's a Starly in chat. Catch that Pokemon. God damn it, that's not the button I wanted to hit. Yeah, so much of my Discord and Facebook has been about the fucking Mike Tyson, whoever, blonde dude fight. This is how much I pay attention. That is just like, okay, is it done yet? Can we finish, please? What do we have here? We have cassette tapes.
Okay, this
Yeah,
is
that
day
dude.
number 295, tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time
You are
I
close.
pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Caporata.
I'm sorry, what? Those were some noises. $30,000?
All of his co-workers
That's
were gone.
ridiculous.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Warmth spread through
That was
Stanley's
like one
arms.
semester of
With the bucket in
tuition
his
for
arms
me.
again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No.
Said the bucket.
Don't
Yeah, let's
go to
follow
the
this
meeting
path
room.
now.
Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
I know you want your revenge, Rexter.
Rexter, welcome in. How
Why
are
would you
you?
do that? It was so nice
Yeah,
up there.
yeah, you should see. You should see you guys
Oh.
both
You
getting
found one of them. One of the
spreaded
latest
away.
Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment
Okay,
you
big guy.
come across one of these beautiful figurines.
I forgot about these. Alright, so they're gonna be all around. That's neat. Um,
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and
We're
the bucket,
doing all right.
his dearest
My
friend.
oldest is at
So
school.
he
The
threw
other
himself to his death,
one is playing
that they might
outside.
die in one
Hubby
another's
is
arms.
sleeping because he works
How
tonight.
deeply touching.
He made some
All
progress
his
on our
co-workers were
fireplace
gone.
last
What
night,
could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
or
meeting
the night
room.
before. I don't
Perhaps he
remember.
had simply missed a memo.
I think it was last night.
Stanley picked up the bucket
So now we're
and
at the point where we
smiled.
can actually
He'd never
tile.
be alone again.
So
Not
that's
truly
exciting.
alone. Not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his. This was not
Except
the
we
gateway
also
to
still
the
need,
meeting room, but
like,
Stanley had felt the bucket calling
majority
to
of our
him,
tile.
telling
We
him
can do the
that
floor tiling.
employee lounge
That's
was
about
simply
it.
the place to be.
We have to get the grout
And
too
here
yet,
it
but
was.
we
Had
were
the
gonna
bucket
wait.
turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
I got to fight
Stanley
insurance
took the
earlier
door on
this
his
week.
left to go
That's
back
always
to the
fun.
meeting room.
I hate
No,
pulling out the I
said the
worked in
bucket.
insurance, so I know
Don't
how
go
to do
the
your job
meeting
thing,
room.
but
Go somewhere else. The cargo lift.
I
Yeah, good,
definitely pulled
said
that
the
out.
bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was
Welcome
speaking
back,
to him.
Sark.
It
Thank you
should
for
have
being here
alarmed him,
today.
of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was
We
firmly
are
convinced that
getting
the
a
bucket had
wood
spoken
burning
to him,
insert
and he unthinkingly did whatever the
in our
bucket
fireplace
asked.
because it can't actually burn wood on its own for some reason. I don't know.
No,
The people
stop.
who had this
Look
house
there on the wall.
before
You see, there's a sign right there.
really
It says,
fucked
no
shit up.
buckets past this point.
Oh.
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what
So now
is a
we're-
bucket and what isn't a bucket?
We
I
took
suppose that
down,
would explain
it
a
had
lot
an
about your behavior
awful,
up to
like,
this point,
fake
which,
rock
if that's
facade that
true,
was not
well,
put
great
together well.
goodness. I
Like, there
think we
were
have to do
two
something
things
about
of,
it. This misunderstanding
thin cinder
could
block
have
that were,
dire
like,
consequences on the entire
gapping.
rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your
It's gonna be
understanding of
wood
what
burning.
is and
It's a
isn't
wood burning
bucket.
fireplace
Yes,
insert.
step in here for a moment.
So that we can use it when we don't have power and we don't have to worry about getting gas. We have woods behind us, so wood is not going to be a problem. Yes, the people who own this house before us fucked up a lot of shit. Like, when we moved in, there was a central air unit, but because they installed it incorrectly, it killed the unit within a month of us moving in. They had the blower directly on, like, a dirt floor in one of our basements. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It must have been the wind. You just brought me mail that must have blown in our yard. Yeah, we had that. As I said with the fireplace, the facade literally had two things of cinder block that were not connected to each other, and literally took my husband 10 minutes to pull down both things of cinder block. It was ridiculous how quick and easy it was. Like, the top was just wibbly wobbly. The mantle place wasn't even glued to anything or attached to anything. Like, they have like a natural wood mantle on top. It was not attached to anything. Literally, you could just lift it up. The stone slab on the floor, literally just lifted up. It was insane. Insane. In the bathroom over there, all of the walls are this weird, like, tub surround material instead of any drywall whatsoever. So that's gonna get replaced eventually. But they painted a flat paint on top of this, like, tub surround material that's like, why? I mean, for moisture areas, you want like a semi-gloss or a gloss. Like, why are you doing it flat? Not to mention the mirror that's on the wall in there. Behind it, you can see it's just a giant hole. And it's not a medicine cabinet mirror or anything. It's just, there's just a giant hole behind this big ass mirror. And they somehow managed to screw it into the wall using the normal mirror mounting stuff. It's really weird. I don't know what they did. I really don't. Um, it's seriously. Well, on the other side of that wall is actually like a closet and a gun safe. Not that we can use that gun safe because I don't think we even have the key to that one. Plus, it's glass. I mean, like, I guess it would have been an old school gun safe, but like, come on. What else? There's been a lot that's been wrong. We did have our dishwasher leak, and that was the one that they had installed, so it ruined quite a bit. Which in replacing one of the cabinets that got like totally destroyed, we realized, and I don't know how we didn't realize this sooner, but all of the cabinets in the kitchen don't match. There's like 3 different styles of cabinets in the kitchen that are all just the same color, and it's just like, how did we miss this? How did we miss this? It was, I don't,
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation
oh my
of a bucket,
god.
not an actual bucket.
One of these is gonna be an actual bucket.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
You know what? Fuck it. Yes.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Oh yeah. Another thing. I have a long hallway where I've been hanging my puzzles. I have
Is this a bucket?
Mario, Zelda, Sailor Moon, all manner of puzzles. And in hanging
Correct.
up
This is a
frames in that hallway, we found out that it bows. It's not flat. So there's also that.
Item 6.
And that's one of those things
Is
that
this
we're
a
just like,
bucket?
how do we even fix that?
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Well, fuck you.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
Hell yeah.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've
75
lost
baseball
all
cards.
sense of
Damn, though.
perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Exactly. That was my
Stanley,
mindset
I
on it.
can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game and
Don't you dare!
here we go.
No! My bucket! What the fuck is
What
that?
happened?
There's a
Is
belly
everything
bolt in
gone?
chat. Catch
Why
that
did everything
Pokemon.
disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. My God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're
I'm
not a
Jim.
bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything, and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket.
Okay, that
And
was
if
an
you run into
interesting one.
anyone else, maybe don't mention that.
I think that's one.
Who knows what that information might
Yeah,
do
that's
to a
one.
person? All right, here we go.
Hi, Primal. Welcome in. How are you? You were playing Overwatch 2 last. Nice. I've never played that.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps. The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket, off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it never mind. The bucket
Yay!
was
I
wrong.
caught it.
Stanley
You're good?
took the
That's
door
good
on
to
his
hear.
left to go back to the meeting room.
Yeah, I was
No,
Said the bucket.
fighting
don't go
insurance
to the
because
meeting room.
we
Go
had
somewhere else. The cargo
an
lift,
X-ray
yes.
claim from an
Good,
ER
said
visit
the bucket. Now
from
ride
July
the lift all the way to the top.
that I was told had
There's
been
something up
reprocessed
there
and
I
showed no
need you to
patient
do.
responsibility in
Stanley
August.
did not
We got a
question
collection
why or
notice
how
for it, and
this
I'm like,
bucket
are you
was
fucking
speaking to
kidding
him.
me?
It should have alarmed
So
him,
I
of
had to
course, because
fight with the
buckets can't
insurance to be
talk.
like,
But
hey, this
Stanley
was
chose
during
not to
the
think
ER.
about
The
this
ER copay
obvious
should
fact.
cover this.
He was firmly convinced that the
You
bucket
just need to
had spoken
reprocess
to
it,
him,
because that's
and
what we
he
would have done.
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
And
In here.
they
Said
were
the
like,
bucket.
no, we
Go
can't
into this
reprocess
dark
it because
room over here.
they submitted it as
Stanley
outpatient.
once
I'm like,
again
well,
obeyed blindly.
in the radiologist's mind, yeah, it is outpatient because everything's fucking outpatient for them, or it's inpatient. Like, they don't give a shit. But okay. And like, it was a fight to even get the representative to agree to call the billing
Now pick up
company
the
with
phone,
me to
said
see if
the
they would
bucket.
resubmit
Pick up
it.
the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can
They're
go
gonna
about
resubmit
life
it
together.
supposedly, and we'll see how it goes. But then, like, for my daughter's
This is
claims,
the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
anyway, for hers, because she was seen in one ER but then had to be transferred because they didn't have a pediatric unit, it was hitting both our ER copay and our hospital benefit, which goes to deductibles. So we were getting hit with like a $525 bill. And it's like, Jesus. Now, in my mind, I'm like, this is technically all one stay. It's just the fact that she had to be transferred because for some reason you don't have any pediatrics in this one hospital. And that happens to be the closest one to us. It was like a 45-minute ride from that hospital to the other one. So it's like, what the fuck do you expect us to do at that point? My kid was having issues breathing. I literally thought she stopped breathing when I was driving her to the hospital because the croup was that bad. So I was like, you know what? I understand why it processed that way. But just out of like, maybe there would be a chance that I could get billing to do something with us. I reached out to them and was like, hey, I understand that there's two separate hospitals and they both have to bill, but because of... Hey Irish, welcome in, how are you? Yeah, I've seen stupid expensive bills. I've seen them.
Whoa, Jesus Christ.
So I was like, because this one was the ER, but they could not admit her for observation like y'all wanted. Actually, they wanted her inpatient. She just happened to get better faster. Is there any chance that the second hospital can notate that it was an emergency admit because that's what it was? And they're like, no, sorry, this is actually correctly billed, but you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna waive the ER copay as a one-time courtesy. I'm like, well, thanks for at least knowing that only one benefit should apply. That's all I wanted. I just wanted one of the benefits to apply. I didn't care which one at that point. I just wanted one of them. So that helped. It was still $350, but still. That's why I had said this before some of y'all came in. I want to thank you guys because this is the first time ever in my Twitch career where I've gotten 3 consecutive months of Twitch payouts, and that is really helping us right now. It really is. And like I try not to be money oriented with streaming because this is just for fun. That's why I do this. Um, but that really is helping us right now because we're getting like hit left and right, left, right, and center with like costs right now. And some are very much unexpected. Now my nose is running. Okay. 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 Bucket! Hello, Stanley, it's me, your bucket. Press V to take me to work with you.
The
My
Stanley
God.
Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Fuck you, narrator. It's actually talking to me. I don't know what you're saying. Oh, Irish, thank you for the bits. You don't have to do that, but always greatly appreciated. Oh, my eyelashes stuck together for a second. That was scary. Press L to take me back home with you.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
You don't talk shit about my bucket, narrator. Press U to go back to work.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket.
No.
It can't think. It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Hats, are you talking about the card game that I've been kind of obsessed with? Like the mobile card game? Or are you actually talking like the full-blown card game? Don't listen to the loud man. Press Z for us to go back home.
You see,
I
he's
don't
not
know if I
listening.
have that one
He's
yet.
still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from, me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket, this stupid hunk of metal.
Don't talk shit about my bucket. Ooh, stickers. Adventure awaits. I kind of like that one. I played the demo. Wish you were here. The freedom ending. We did get that one. 8. What is 8? Press K to ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine.
That is really delayed. Okay. To be fair, it's really delayed in OBS's activity feed too. Shit's just going nuts. Yeah. That I'm just listen. I'm just happy that my monitor in my headset is working now. It was not working before. Yeah, I don't have Pikachu X. Granted, I only started like a few days ago. I got Articuno though. I like Articuno. And I got Misty. The Nidoqueen one's really pretty too. I like the Nidoqueen one. Somehow this stream has turned into Pokemon. Although Nidoqueen I don't think is an actual X. I have 2 different Articunos. And I have a Moltres. And an Arcanine. Oh yeah, and Gengar. Gengar looks pretty neat. It's gambling? Art X up. I don't fucking know. You act like I should know what this means, but I just like collecting shit. And trying to battle things that I'm just like, this one's pretty, let's throw this one in there. Okay, cool. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press O to go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid.
He's watching
Like
TV.
it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Oh, now I'm on top of the bucket. Press F to relive the same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Press R to go home, to work, to home, to work, to home.
Oh no. I'm having feelings. For the bucket.
Oh, whatever's easier for you.
No.
You can
What's
just
going
send it
on?
to me in
Why
DM.
do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be
There's a
less
door
confusing.
open.
Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this
Are we in a
troublesome
cult?
situation.
Are we in a bucket cult? Oh. Okay, I like the use of the frying pan for the candles. That's amusing. Are we using the bucket in a way that the bucket probably should not be used? Can we set ourselves on fire? No.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Go back to work, Stanley. My bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Figurine Finders Committee meeting today.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfect. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Whoa. Trust the completionist instinct. I need a sticker that says that. Oh, I make one for each different element, essentially. I haven't made a dragon one yet because I've only gotten, I think, 1 dragon. And it's like a middle tier, so it's like, or middle evolution, I should say. Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen this investigation, this room? They feel pointless to BH. Weird spinning figurines. Artist rendering. Saw one in cargo room. That's probably the one I got. There's a Simisear in chat. Catch that Pokemon. And we sell them, obviously. Maybe we are the collectibles. Shut the frick up. To whom it may concern, I managed to pick up sounds unusual to our regular office ambiances for local audio sources using an array of cardioid microphones, also known as directional mic. Pardon me. A microphone which picks up sound from a particular area. Analysis of the recordings allowed me to triangulate the source of the strange noise. Data shows that, in all likelihood, it's coming from a dark area behind a very warm place. I also picked up what looks to be reverberance off a porcelain surface. Anyone have any leads on this? Wouldn't you like to know? There will be a reward for finding them all. Stop kidding yourselves. Lies! Who are you? 666 lol. There will be cleaning of this wall required. I want them so much. I want to go home. Look, lol looks like 427.
You were close.
Gotta collect them all. Oh, so it gives us hints here. So we got the exhibit, we got the cargo, something to do with stairs. Somewhere both red and blue, near a fireplace, and a private but smelly place for, well, that's the boss's bathroom. That's kind of what I figured with the porcelain. Okay. Both red and blue. Alright, here's the stairs.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Here's one.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another
Stanlerines.
Stanlerine under your belt.
Okay, we'll try this.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket? And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Oh my
Come
God.
to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along.
Okay, 1 second, big guy.
Incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this
She's got the
particular
bucket.
day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right
Accurate.
away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
She backflipped all the way to work. Yeah, sure.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
So let's go upstairs this time to go to the
Coming to a
boss's.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies.
Figlies.
What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Why is this paper glowing? I still don't know if there's really like a purpose there other than us like entertainment.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anarines. Very soon, you'll collect
I don't
the
like that
last
one.
one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anarines. None of us can.
Figure and the reins. I don't like that one. Just saying.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right.
Figley's is probably my favorite one.
Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Take my bucket with me to the end.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
I think I already tried the escape with it and it didn't work. Hey! Where the fuck is my... Oh, okay. It was just dark. I was about to be really mad.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. There's gonna be an ad in about a minute. Sorry,
y'all. I will do my best to pause so you don't miss any story. Words are hard today.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock.
Here's mine.
Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Oh, we also have to put the bucket in the broom closet. We've never done that.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire
Rexter,
world.
thank you for the 7-stream streak, and you also for your 7-stream streak earlier. I'm sorry, I think I got distracted and didn't get to say that. Bucket versus companion.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation.
Oh, we got
Controls
colors.
labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket.
Alright, we are in ad jail right now. Please remember to take a break and hydrate. Rexter, no, you're worth it. In the meantime, let me check my messages because they are going crazy. Oh. Interesting. Oh, don't add any more basic Pokemon. Oh, I see, I see. There's a Garbodor in chat. Catch that Pokemon. Let me see here. Okay. Hats, I sent you a friend request. It's your spirit Pokemon? Stop it. It is not. Oh, goodness. I have to figure out what I'm playing after this yet. I do have some randos that I haven't played that are on the list.
You were close.
You were close. I still have Cult of the Lamb to finish, which maybe that would be good to do one Monday evening, because I feel like it's probably hard for y'all for like the afternoon streams. I'm not streaming that. I do have a bunch of free games that I got through like, you know, Epic and shit. Because the Castlevania, there's like a Castlevania bundle that's free right now. I don't think so. I know there was Simon's Revenge. I think it's called that. I think it's more of the retro games. Like retro. You finished your breakfast? Good job, big guy. It just took you 3 hours. It is not snacky time yet. Oh. Oh. Let me see what's in here. Welcome back from Ad, everybody. We are currently paused to look up something for hats. It's the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, free currently on Epic Games. Let's see what it has in here. It has Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, Super Castlevania 4, Castlevania The Adventure, Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge, I combined two of the names, Castlevania Bloodlines, Kid Dracula, which was never released in English before, and History of Castlevania Book of the Crescent Moon. That's a lot of games to get for free. That said, I've never actually beaten like a Castlevania game, so big guy, what do you want to watch? Alright, back to the game.
Up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
like there should be something that I can do here, though. Oh, that made a different noise. No, I've never really been into the Metroid games. I only beat Super Metroid like a few months ago for the first time.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
And the only reason I played Super Metroid was so that I could eventually try an SMZ3.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Flamingos!
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken,
No
this one
ostriches.
was surely the best. And Stanley
Lame.
was happy.
Lame. There's no ostriches.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did some...
Ostriches are also silly.
The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
So we just have somewhere both red and blue. I thought I found that spot, but I guess I didn't.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
Well, I can't leave the bucket.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
I wonder how long, like if he ever comes back and is like, you've been in there too long.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light let Stanley guess the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Going on a trip in a favorite rocket ship, zooming through the sky, little Einsteins. That's what I say whenever I'm grabbed in Ghost Watchers and the ghost is like dragging me
Stanley and the
someplace
bucket
new.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
I feel like there has to be something with these buttons. There's a golem in chat. B12OG, catch that Pokemon. There's stairs there too. Is that where we came from? I'd like to be able to see though. So I can't get to that one. So it appears to be blocked off. What am I supposed to do?
You were close.
What's up, big guy? I love you too. Welcome back, Alhuno. I hope you're having a good lunch. They won't let me parkour. Mm. Not entirely sure what to do there. And we still have to figure out.
When at last they came,
We still have to figure out the place that's both red and blue.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and to... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket.
To be
Yeah,
trapped
but fajitas are
eternally in
yummy.
darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Alright, what achievements do I have left in this game? There's 7 more achievements. Let's see. Oh yeah, the ones don't play it for 10 years. And then play the Stanley Parable for the entire duration of a Tuesday. Settings World Champ. What is that?
This is the story named Stanley.
Oh, that's kind
So
of nice.
that would be 32. 132.
There's a
that is.
reticle.
I'll keep that ready from Digital Christine.
Hey, True.
Look,
Welcome
somebody
in.
drag
How
in
are
here.
you?
Digital Christine, look what I got. So that's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I like Joe's favorite. Well, that's kind of nice. Well, shit, I would have been excited to find all of that before. Woo. Alright, yep, nope. It's definitely way too high. That's better.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
We're gonna
missed a
ignore the
memo.
bucket. Actually, no, we'll take the bucket with us.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better
How you doing
co-worker.
today, True?
In time, perhaps,
Hope
he
your
would
Friday's
become
going well.
both of those.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
I don't know what the 8 does, so we're just kind of hitting it over and over again. There's one that's just like 8 repeating. Did I get a splinter there somehow? Interesting.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
go back up?
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Number 3.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely... Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Eight.
Got everything here now? Guess so.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Oh, true. Are you playing the mobile
A hint of
Pokemon card
regret
game?
nagged in the back of Stanley's mind. Should he demonstrate the number 3 for the bucket again?
Might as well. We got something new. We're gonna play with it.
Said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing. Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Eight.
Thought I imagined that the first time around, but nope, it did happen. Okay,
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be? Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read,
There's a
Mind
Luminion
Control
in chat.
Facility.
Catch that fishy.
Although this passageway had
Looks like
the
you're
word
fishy.
escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Hey, big guy. Excuse you. Thank you.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a
Nice catch,
single
Drew.
visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
Soon, big guy.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all
No, we don't
buckets
have
are
red
radiant in
Doritos.
their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind... Oh, baby. The mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were in ignorance and darkness? I mean, darkness is my friend, so...
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Rude. $25 buckets. That is more than 25 buckets. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. That is way more than 25. A bucket with 2 handles. This bucket is depicted as having 2 handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Inferno bucket. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains: no one can control a bucket. Okay. The stress bucket, an analogy, presented without commentary. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Stress equals the level of water in the bucket. Vulnerability equals size and strength of the bucket. Coping strategies equals holes. Rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy, rest and relaxation. Cave drawing. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. I like that they gave them this one like a big butt. Yeah, we can't go this way, right? No, we can't.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distant inevitability is for our own good. Oh. I thought I was jumping, but apparently I was not.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision for...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very
Welcome to
lucky
the
indeed.
whiteboard ending. Dog mode. What's dog mode? Do I get a dog?
Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I don't know where this red and blue one is.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Now we're gonna go downstairs. Fuck you. Like, I thought it would
But
be this
Stanley
area,
just
but
couldn't
it's
do it.
not here.
He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the runes were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Alright, we've already heard this
the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work. How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Okay, I know what I have to do now. We can't take the bucket on this journey.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps but eager to get back to business.
There's a
Stanley took
Spearow
the
in
first
chat.
open
Catch
door
that
on his left.
Pokemon, B12 OG.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on...
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly.
Stiggly
Savor this moment,
Wiggly.
Stanley. This
Okay,
is a real
I think that
accomplishment.
one's better.
This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward.
Oh,
I
sure
would
is yelling.
tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Nice catch, True.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for?
Hey, Mr. Kid, how are you? Welcome in.
Well, I can tell that Mar did something fun over there. All I heard was, oh, ow, ow.
Yeah, I heard too.
Here.
I'm just gonna.
It's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Alright, this is pretty. Good. That's good to hear. Oh, that's pretty. We got green balls. They started by blue balling us and now they're green balling us. So many colorful balls. Ooh, now we got pink and red. This would be like the worst nightmare for a colorblind person, because like none of this would look right. I wonder what it would look like to Casey. I know Casey's colorblind. I should ask her. My issue is like the blurriness. My eyes try to focus on it and it fucks with my eyes. My eyes have focusing issues to begin with, and like when I go up here, it's like, oh god. Yes, I know what I said there. You better fucking believe that I know what I said. I mean, come on. This is very pretty. Penis, 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 I love you. You're not gonna be able to hear the Peaches song without hearing penis now. I guarantee it. Alright, let's see if we leave, if that does something. Oh.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No!
Whoops! I didn't actually mean to go over the edge.
Thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room? There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
Thank you for the clip,
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this. No. No, no, what are you doing? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me? I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
I mean, if it doesn't change from this, though, this is boring. It's pretty, but it's fucking boring. Why am I walking so... Is it because I dove off the thing so many times that now I'm walking slow? Icy! Welcome in, my friend. How are you?
Alright. If we get lucky and get this in a quick ball, I'm gonna be so absolutely amazed. No way! No way! Did we really?
I think that's the tamest clip I found
Is it
of
over?
yours here.
It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Also, Icy, have you been playing the mobile Pokemon trading card game? Because I think you would like it.
Stanley, I'm
Wait a minute.
sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
I've made him want to kill himself, I think. I know where you want me to go. I'm gonna wander everywhere I can to not.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Oh.
And here was a second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember? Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that...
Oh, we're in ad jail. Alright, we're gonna pause. I'm gonna take a quick BRB to get a certain little man his SNACKs. So you guys make sure you take your own little break. You can snack, you can do whatever you need to. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. I like getting feet pics, do 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 do. Only in Phasmo, do 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 do.
Drop his
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got ran over.
You did. I watched your pancake self waddle away.
I feel so bad. I was about to say I feel so bad for killing Yoshi, and now I have to kill Yoshi again. Oh god, now I have to get through this part again.
Yeah, just yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my god!
So whoever did that lightning, thank you for making sure that Super Jump was across the jump and I wasn't. You still won.
But whoever threw that, whoever threw that blue shell, thank you very much. You're a beautiful man.
Sorry.
My God, Beauty got Mario Kart. It's so hard.
Right.
Stop. Itch. You got.
How are you today, bestie? Welcome in. You're trying to schmoove your way into a job? You can do it. Okay. That's like useless, but okay. 600 per week for 15 hours of work. Holy crap. I don't want to talk to you because you're just... Oh, you didn't release B. Okay, cool. You got this, Neffy. Oh, a fish! Let's save Obscure! A soul rock appears. Catch that Pokemon. We saved Obscure. It's so heavy. How is it? No! Obscure, how dare you! Oh, I'm so gonna clip that and send that to him and be like, Obscure, how could you? Why you hate me? Do you want to see it eat me? I mean, it probably will, considering I just kind of fucked myself over. Oh god, it's there! I just got eaten by a chicken. Hello, Tom. She good of you stop by. As you know by now, my brother and I are notorious weapon dealers. We supply for all catastrophes of life. Oh. Blame it on not having a sword. Facts.
Oh, that's in my head now.
Blue shell.
I'm not in first. I'm happy. Jerk.
Whee!
Well,
Whee!
Dang, I was.
I'm gonna check this one. Really? Yeah? You're saying hi? Yeah! Oh, that was so cute. You gonna say hi again? Can you blow kisses? Oh, you fast for you. B12 says hi. Hi. Hi, poop. Oh my goodness. You wanna say hi, Graham? Hi, Graham poop. Hi, Graham poop. Oh my goodness. Blake. Everybody poops. Dicks. I don't want to be here. There we go.
Just absolutely lovely stories. Just makes you laugh out loud.
Like everybody poops.
I don't know everybody poops.
Yeah, that's a book. Everybody poops. Everybody poops.
American
Thanks,
Canadian
Proto.
author.
Hi, big girl. Ooh, I had voice crack like I'm going through puberty. No, thank you. Please no, not again. Although I wouldn't mind growing a little bit more. Alright, welcome back everybody! Sorry, there was an Emolga in chat. I was away. I'm doing alright today, I see. How are you feeling right now? And yeah, I've been trying to stick with my Monday evenings because that's just what I've grown on. That's my one evening where I'm like, okay, let's do this. And then during the day while my daughter's at school, I've been doing Wednesdays and Fridays. I had to cancel Wednesday because I had a migraine. I was on day 2 of a migraine. And it was literally so bad that I was almost like bawling with any light on. It was bad. I ended up also mixing my meds, which I don't know if I'm technically really supposed to do, because like I have 2 migraine meds. One's like a milder one, and then one's like a we're gonna knock this fucking shit out. And then one that is stronger didn't actually knock it out all the way out. So a few hours later I took the other one and that seemed to kind of work in a way. It's still like it was still there until the following morning, but that it it thankfully released. It's been rough.
You had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your 3rd time doing anything.
Okay. Now what? Oh, this way.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
I disagree, it didn't. Okay. Sure.
This was the 5th mini-Stan, and this one was really something special. It was behind the boss's office. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
You like cheese? I'm glad. Oh my goodness. Oh, good. I'm glad that you had a comfort drink. I'm not an eggnog person. It's gross to me. I'm a cider. I'm apple cider all the way.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was
and
8
peppermint
minutes
mocha.
I wouldn't have spent on anything
Peppermint mocha is also
else.
this time. Peppermint. Oh, that sounds even worse. I'm sorry. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. That is not for me. My nose is all of a sudden angry.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works?
So the pink one was the bathroom one.
This is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly
More mead.
like.
Ooh. What's he say? To the right? Oh, it doesn't matter. You are in the present. Are you sure?
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the Memory Zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the Memory Zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
My god. Sped it up.
Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley.
This
Still
was
no
the
memory of this
bathroom one.
Good room, though. A solid room.
I wonder if that's one of those they made the room and
These
like
really were a
didn't
treat
have
to
it
hunt down. You know, if there had been
anywhere
any
that
kind
it
of
could be
reward for
useful.
finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
I don't know Irish. I actually don't know that. I've never played Sir Wolf-Ass. And Icy, this game is a riot. I am thoroughly enjoying it. What's this way? Is there anything this way? There's no secrets this way, okay. Oh, that's right.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the
like the
exhibit where I
sculpture of all the
introduced you
people,
to
though.
the Figlarines. Oh,
Hands.
I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Check out that butt.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
I used all my jumpies.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship.
It's not.
And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time.
There's
I'll
a
take care of
tentacle in
myself.
chat. Catch
I don't
that
need Stanley
Pokemon.
anymore.
B12 OG.
Fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Yeah, I see. Have you tried out
All
the
of his
mobile
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Pokemon trading
Stanley
card game?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Huh? We're gonna leave Bucket.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nice catch, Irish.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I'm still upset that you can't flush the toilet, though. That is upsetting.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him.
8.
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled
I don't know
with
what
emotions.
these buttons do.
Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Yeah, if only it was that easy. Okay, so I can't get up to number 4. Activate power cells. You know, we haven't just said yes without the bucket.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are. A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
That's fun. You want to stream it? Oh. I have no idea.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So what am I supposed to do in that? Was I
Yet
just
there was
supposed to
not
die
a single
that time?
person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look,
Hey.
it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Ah. Playing with a broom? Pretending I'm Cinderella? There's a clink in chat. Catch that Pokemon.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I especially like the mop bucket with no mop in it.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job?
You were close.
That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground.
Hey, Kumi.
Welcome
in. How are you?
Inside, or I let it burn to a
I win, bitch.
I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Nope.
But you really believe there's an answer? How many times will you replay this bit, looking desperately for a solution? 10? 100? 1,000? I look forward to finding out and to watching the bomb go off each time you fail.
Unusually choppy.
Just you and me and the retching explosion of fire and metal over and over and over for all of eternity. And Stanley died again.
All right, on my end.
And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Gotta press the big red button right when the narrator and countdown hits 34 seconds. Okay.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
No.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Like, I feel like there has to be something. Let's see, what achievements do we have left? No hints from there. Don't listen to you. Okay. Alright, well this just told me about a fun ending. Oh, I think I already fucked it up though. It did, okay.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is Rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected Continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers. But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Some fun, stupid endings.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too.
There's a Pharisee in chat. Catch that, Pokemon.
were close.
Okay. We done? Alright, let's see. Oh. Like, I get all the endings. At this point, I'm just kind of like, oh, let's see what we got here. What we got here? Okay, this one says we have to activate all 5 awaiting input computers. Oh, why is there paper everywhere?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, there's one. And it says we have to reset the game after we activate each one.
All of his co-workers
We had
were
already
gone.
done
What could it
one,
mean?
just because
Stanley
I
decided to
clicked
go to the meeting
things.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Area?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Fucking rude.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Is there anything after I do all this? Okay.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
We're married? How many endings have I seen? I have no idea. There's been so many. Look at all the buttons. They undo themselves. No. Rude. That's true. Maybe it's just a girlfriend. Or a very affectionate roommate. Alright, that's all that one is. I'm done with playing buttons. Alright, let's see. I got the game development ending, the baby game ending. Oh wait, there's... Oh. Wait a minute. The game development ending I got. I didn't get... 4 hours? There's no way I'm clicking that button for 4 hours because I have to get my kid in like 1. We got that one. We got that one. I don't know if we've gotten that one. Alright, let's try this.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out.
I don't remember if we did this one or not, but here we are.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right.
We didn't do this one.
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Dick.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employee 427. Press C on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Please press T.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
What if I push a button that's not
pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Yeah. Please press R. Nothing happens if I push it.
But in his mind, in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press G to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished.
We got Agile. Sorry, y'all. We are going to pause until Agile is over. There's another one that involves the phone that I know we didn't do. Like 100% no, we didn't do. We did the confusion ending. Oh, that one's interesting too. Oh, there are two endings that are in the original that aren't in this edition. Ooh, chocolate pudding. There's a Game Development 101 with Portal and Minecraft references, replaced by Firewatch and Rocket League references. And then a serious ending. Because at least this guide says that they're pretty sure you can't trigger it. There's Duosion in chat. Catch that Pokemon. We got the jump circle. We got the memory palace. We got the big hole. Did the Stanlerines. Oh, there's one that I would have to reboot the game a few more times yet. Go up and down in the elevator down to the mind control facility. Oh, is that the one in the boss's room? Kind of did that.
You were close.
How do you fall to the bottom of the monitor room? Ooh. I got that one. We've gotten most of them, honestly, already. Alright. Welcome back from ad jail. Let me get back to that one.
Vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Please press, I'm guessing I to spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last,
it's real in your mind.
It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
I want to steal your arm and smack you with it. Please press Z to prepare dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world,
he
began to fill it with many possible paths
Ew.
and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls.
Why does it look like the mannequin shit herself
weaved in many
badly?
directions, and down another was a game with a baby, and he called it the Stanley Parable.
Please press C to tell your kids a story.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played
no, it's
just
more about the
one
floor.
more
Look how
time.
gross that is. Please press B to tell your wife you love her.
But there is no answer.
Oh, bye.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Please press N to go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Please press U to be at work in the morning.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Please press G to question nothing.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Please die.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
I didn't push a button that time. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Look at you.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley
Is
knew
that
it
a whistle
perfectly
now?
well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
It was okay.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really.
What?
I'm not. I realize that investing your trust
Blue
in
and red
someone
make
else
purple,
can
you're
be
right.
difficult. But the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Oh no.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Let me see.
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking, this is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to... Oh, no, you can't... Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
That's
I can't
debatable.
believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process.
Okay, I like that one.
Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality. Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, I messed up the ending. This is different.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Am I supposed to speak? I already forget what the code was. 9155?
Stanley spoke
the
Night
code.
Shark. Nightshark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Nightshark 115. Nightshark 115.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Nightshark 115. Open sesame.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
There's a Cub Chew in chat. Catch that Pokemon.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late. Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to.
You were close.
I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
What'd you find? Oh.
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley?
Tiny busted screw,
He actually
big guy.
knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you. You're a child. Oh,
Say hi?
my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ooh.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do.
Sorry, Leroy.
Take as much time as you need.
It's a different hallway. Alright, let me see. That's the one that's going to be difficult. There's one where...
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's off.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Okay, so I don't know...
Stepping in...
Oh! Okay. You are now leaving. I am grateful that you did too. It's so dark. Okay, big guy. 1 second. I am so blind in these dark areas. You just keep climbing. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like I'd be dying after this many stairs. Although I have asthma, so. Escape pod, launch bay. We're petting the bucket. Alright, let's try that without
All
the
of his
bucket
co-workers
now.
were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
The bucket's not there because it escaped.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
There we go. Did I break it? I think I broke it, y'all. So I can't go out here. Okay, this door open now. Okay. I thought I broke it. God, now we have to climb all this again. There's a Rhyhorn in chat. Catch that Pokemon. B12 OG. There've been lots of OGs today. I do feel like this is like a perfect afternoon game because it's pretty easy for people to just lurk in because there's so much voiceover that I just can't talk through, you know? Okay.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. And try not to lose this one too, you dolt. Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
You were close.
Game just insulted me.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps, if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of...
No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley.
Oh Oh my god.
You did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
That was, something.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others.
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
No, I'm still not feeling it. You see, now that you've gotten the bucket involved, my standards have gone up. Merely clicking a single door is no longer enough. Now, I want to see you press this bucket against multiple doors. Now that's the kind of thing that merits an achievement. Why don't you put 20 bucket touches into door 417?
I love that it changes when you have the bucket. Wait, here's 417.
Okay, great. Now, go touch the bucket on door 437 a few times. Yes, now we're getting somewhere. How about door 415? Give it some bucket love.
Bucket love.
Now back to door number 437.
Bucket love.
You know, I think the copy machine needs some attention. Why don't you rub the bucket on it a bit? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now bring the bucket on top of employee 419's desk. Yes, this is great. Now the bucket knows exactly what it's like to be employee 419. Now, let's introduce it to door 416. We've almost got it. Now make the bucket and the copy machine touch again.
You could have worded that differently.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 touches of the bucket on door 430. Yes! We did it! Wow! That felt amazing. You know, not all buckets will get this kind of experience. They won't all know what it's like to slam repeatedly against nearly every door in one section of an office. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
There we go. Don't touch the secrets. We never go secret. Go, go, Secret Rangers! William hides the best secrets. Are you guys ready for this one?
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Alright, and that is unfortunately where I have to kind of call it quits for today. I have to hop off and go get my kiddo from the bus stop. So let's see who is on right now. What? I'm not going to continue this on Monday because I've pretty much done everything other than the time-consuming ones. So we will figure out something else that we're playing on Monday. There's a Slagoo in chat. Catch that Pokemon. Let's see who is on right now that we can raid to. The people I have on are... There's not really anyone who's playing anything like this, I don't feel like. But let's go... Let's go over to Manja. We haven't visited Manja. Right? I'm pretty sure I've already used up all of my 8. Alright. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the Stanley Parable. I don't know how this weekend's gonna go with streaming, just because of stuff going on. But I will definitely see you guys on Monday. Not sure what we're playing Monday, but we'll figure it out. And hopefully my computer and technology cooperates because it was really pissing me off earlier. Yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend if I don't see you. A wonderful rest of your Fridays. And let's go give Manja some love.